That was a fire trailer for AEW pay-per-views on Prime, but no way WBD approved that if they plan to have pay-per-views this year, and they 100% had to approve that sub-license. So, MJ, thank you for the transition into AEW news there. There was a fire trailer for AEW pay-per-views on Prime. I didn't even watch the full trailer. I'm probably going to watch it with you guys here, obviously. Now, AEW's on Prime with their pay-per-views. We're going to talk about that. Some people feel like they're hustled. Ricochet's flat out making fun of AEW fans. I mean, he's healing, so let him do his thing. Yeah, so they're saying they had to approve that sub-license. I don't know about all that. Listen, yes, it is a sub-license. I believe WBD. What did I tell you all? I was like, WBD is going to scrape off the top, or if a deal comes along with someone else, they're going to go do that, and we want 5% or we want 10 or whatever. I don't know. That's just what I predicted way before from listening to people smarter than me. That's how these things could work too. They are working with AEW, so if they can peel a little off the top of them going to Prime with the pay-per-views, sure, go do a deal with them. And it's weird because that thing did say that later this year. We'll get into it, but the memo that came out or whatever, the press statement or the advertisement, whatever you want to call it, that came out saying AEW is streaming on Max, it did say that later in 2025 there would be like cheaper pay-per-view prices or whatever. Now, is that still the case? That's what if I was a fan who's on Max, I'd be like, what the, but clearly they don't clearly they're looking at the numbers and they realize the outcry from that isn't going to be so significant that they don't just go to Prime. And then they can still sell their pay-per-views at a discount later. It's not like that's not going anywhere, but I question, is it? No one clarified that. So it's not being a hater, right, MJ? Just a question. Is it going to still, or are they going to, was that a little bit of a swindle there? But plans change, card subject to change, pal. So I thought for sure with my Prime sub, it would be discounted, listed at $50. Damn. So so that's what the UFC, so they're pulling a UFC. What UFC does on ESPN is you get ESPN Plus, and then you get a discount. It's like $50, but you got to pay your $8 a month or whatever for ESPN Plus. So yeah, it works. And when you're doing pay-per-views and a little bit, like you're able to get money, and then there's like a whole deal. And if WBD got even 5% of that, then they're happy. So I'm not like shocked by it. And it is a good big deal for them, but it's just so, I don't know. I put a tweet out about it. I was like, it just feels so like, well, then what's up with the whole Max? Like you guys are pushing Max so hard. Now it's like, and go to Prime over here. Now it's two different. I thought the streaming wars and the whole, it's Max and the Max numbers are. So if they expect us to believe that there's hundreds of thousands of people watching AEW, this is where Dave gets owned, Dave Meltzer. Okay. If they expect us to believe that hundreds of thousands of people are watching AEW on Max, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you guys go over to Prime to watch, like, obviously those numbers aren't significant enough to where they're even worried about that. They're just like them. They'll get them anyways. The people watching on Max, they'll go find AEW anyways. That's what it screams to me. That's what nobody's really pointing out. I try to point out that no one's really pointing out, but to me, it just screams like you spent all this time being like, oh, Max. But go to Prime if you want the pay-per-view, though. And I'm sorry, on Max, they're not even on there. And if they are, you pay a premium, and we'll give you a discount maybe later this year or whatever. I just don't know. It's messy. I have Prime with no ads. Revolution is listed at $40 or $50. That's wild, dude. But that's the UFC model. So, but they're just not a product like the UFC. That's why it doesn't work, man. But anyways, we'll get into that a little more as we trudge along. Here's the rest of AEW news. Okay. So, Big Boom AJ. Now, someone leaked DMs. These could be AI, though. These could be totally made up. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. You want to know why? Because Awful Wrestling got sent some, if you guys remember, we rewind to Grand Slam Scam, and he was sent some about Kyle Fletcher had to go help get their ring or whatever. And then, Awful said it, and he's like, but hey, man, I don't know. Like, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm told. And he tweeted it out, and he's like, if this is true, and people got mad, called him dumb. But then QT Marshall came out and was like, he stooged it. He's like, yeah, we got the ring from PWA or whatever. So then it just confirmed what Awful was told, more or less, okay? he can get into more detail. But it just confirmed, like, because Fletcher's like whatever. So now he's more inclined to believe, let's say. So I don't know if the same person sent him this or where he got this, but I'll give Awful the benefit of the doubt. Maybe someone's like, no, this is doctored. I think it's cringe to leak DMs, right? I think that's cringe to do. So anyways, though, but we have to, it's in the IWC. We're not going to ignore it. That's what we do here at PWT. So Big Boom AJ is like, hey, we're in LA this week. And he's just asking influencers to come, but Awful's laughing at him. He's like, you guys able to come in my AEW match at the Crypto Arena and stream? And then this guy's like, I'm not here. I'm going to London. And then Big Boom's like, think any of the other guys would want to come? And then he's like, all of us are going. And just this, like, I'm not here. I'm going to London. All of us are going. That seems so like, don't message me. In my opinion, I don't know. And then Doom, laughy faces, have a good time, boom. And at least he's a good guy and he's not being like an asshole about it or is mad or whatever. I don't know if this is an own, like he's just asking his influencer friends to be there. But yeah, this just got shared around a lot and went kind of viral. So you got to have a laugh at that. And it's funny how he said Doom. And we were talking about who are these podcasts earlier, and they recently did one on the Big Boom People's Podcast. It is the most insane thing. I implore you all, look up their podcast. Every episode, like let's say they're on episode 6, they give 6 booms. So they're like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, and then someone said on who are these podcasts, they're like, what happens when they get to episode 86? Or, you know, are you doing 12 booms when you get to episode 12? That's crazy. Anyways, MJF says he will make over $15 million in current AEW contract and addresses his future. Now, it's funny. That's always what anybody can really flex. Never like we made history in this building, or it's never anything. I know people are like, oh, the biggest gate, you got gouged. It's like, okay, you know, if AEW sold the most pay-per-views ever, you'd all be like, oh, they sold them. You know what I mean? So it's just stupid. You pick your victories, you pick your losses. But that's all anyone can say. Oh, I have so much money. It was like Monet, right? She's eating in the camera and she's like, I am the richest I've ever been. I get that, but you know, when it comes down to the wrestling aspect, I mean, I don't know. He's about to light Christian Cage on fire. They interrupted it. Thank God. I don't know. He's become a little stale and just kind of cringe in public. More of that later. But Jeff Jarrett is involved with the revival of the legendary game publisher Acclaim. So earlier I saw in chat, everyone was yapping about video games. Thanks to Pliny and Pixel Art in chat, I successfully modded my Nintendo Wii. So
allegedly.
I've had so much fun with that, and Acclaim made so many golden games back then. So thank God Jeff Jarrett's involved. Hey, I got something for you. Jeff Jarrett's Pro Wrestling, right? Would you guys play that? They did, I think Game Boy did something where they made a game, like a Grimace game for Game Boy after the fact, and you can only like emulate it, right? I don't know if they even sold cartridges, but they did it like years after Game Boys are already discontinued or whatever Game Boy they're on, like the old school ones. That'd be crazy if he's like Jeff Jarrett's Wrestling and made a game with Acclaim for like Super Nintendo. But you could only play it if you had a Super Nintendo, or if you like ROM'd it, like emulated it, you know, off the internet or whatever. Victim in domestic violence case. I shouldn't have said that on YouTube. In DVK, we're on X tonight, folks. Case against Bear Boulder asked. Yeah, I guess after Husey was on, none of that really matters. That's all out the window. Asks for charges to be dropped. So the victim asked for the charges to be dropped. Now, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We read it on the show before. He is a big dude, man. And he got in a fight with a woman, I guess is how we word it. And there's no mutual combat there, I don't think. And he was like standing on her, apparently. Now that's all allegedly too. We don't know. I wasn't in the room, but, the charges are asking to be dropped, so I don't know if we'll ever see him hired by WWE or in AEW again, but goddamn. Yeah, iconic game publisher Acclaim has been resurrected with wrestler Jeff Jarrett on its advisory board, so good for him. Saraya's brother Zach Knight has departed AEW. His contract expired. Now, I think Saraya, her deal's up in September. I'm not saying Zach Knight should go to WWE or anything like that. You all saw the movie. They didn't want him. However, he does have a good look, and there's something about him. He's not terrible in the ring or anything. He's not as good if you look at like Paige Saraya at her peak, you know. I think she clearly gets it a little more, but it's in their blood. And he's an older chap, so I'm not going to say send him to NXT. I don't know if they're in town and they need a jobber or something. I'm not diminishing him, but AEW I thought would have been the place for him. Maybe a TNA or something will look at him now a little. But this is where like Tony Khan owning ROH sucks. Because even if he was like partnered with ROH, there'd be that outlet. There'd be that place where, because ROH now is just like a nothing burger. So I don't know. Yeah, someone in chat said pay Gorn. Yeah, I hope not. Don't subject yourself to that, Zach Knight. Al Snow says John Moxley, Edge, Mercedes, Monet. No. And Saraya have all lost their shine in AEW on the brand. Vince Russo's the brand, bro. Yeah, I love that I was popping Husey with my Russo impression. That's how you know it's a good one. But yeah, here's Al Snow. Yeah, sort of just saying what we all know. For Edge, it doesn't really, I mean, he's in that era where it doesn't really matter fully. It's not, well, he was just wrestling Yuta, bro, on a go home to the pay-per-view. Maybe that does matter. Yeah, maybe I'll shut the fuck up. Every time I try and go, well, maybe AEW, it just never works out. You know, they make me look stupid every time. So let's listen to what Al Snow has to say.
And remember when Moxley had went over he was like the first guy to jump, remember? And I remember on the show, I brought it up like a couple months later. I was like, is it just me? Or was Moxley a star in WWE and now in AEW? Like, he doesn't, like, the shines went off of him and nobody cares, you know, anymore. Back, you know, when he first jumped, it was like, whoa, and the shine went off fast. Edge went over there and, you know, and boy, the shines just went right off of him too. Several guys who have jumped from WWE and went there, like that rub off of WWE just gets erased, and then they just get lost in the shuffle. Mercedes Monet, you know, again, Saraya.
She gets like anti-reactions. Monet does, so that's irrefutable. Edge, I mean, they still pop for him everywhere. Like, he's just one of those guys. It's like when Jericho was first in AEW. You know, everyone's like, okay, it's Jericho. That's how we can lure some people who used to watch wrestling over to the Edge is kind of like that. And he's not like washed or anything, you know? So he's just a guy where they're still popping for him. Christian can get over to, you know, like they react because he knows what he's doing. But I understand what Al's saying. Like, I agree. You know, people like Monet who their prime, you could argue maybe it's her prime. Maybe her prime is a little bit before she went to AEW, but you could argue. And like she's gonna spend it here. Just I don't know. It upsets me. That's why I feel bad for people like Rosa, who has to go here and deal with this you know, like Megan Bain. I guess she's bigger. She doesn't need to bump for everything. That's just David versus Goliath type stuff. But it's like she's got to deal with this like unprofessional, and she's past her prime now. And they didn't capitalize when she was hot. You know, that's what makes me sad. But yeah, as far as he's gonna name some other folk here. We'll give our thoughts.
Yeah, you know, just wipes the shine off of them, and it dulls them down, and they no longer look like stars. It's really, really surprising, you know, and that has to do with that lack of leadership and direction and singular vision. And Tony's taking an approach with, you know, bringing these ex-WWE guys over just for that initial pop.
Hurt Business, getting a little lost in the shuffle. Hey? No, chat. Am I wrong on that, chat? Let me know.
Of a reaction.
Like, they're dope. They're dope. And I like seeing them, but it's just, okay, now what? Just seems like you could build to so much more. You could be building such an exciting tag division around them. You know, Tony's just like, when we get Cedric the Trios belts, like, you know, that's all that's on his mind already.
And then, like, okay, well, now I've got an extra action figure. I'm just going to put it back in the case, and, you know, we'll bring it out when we think it fits, you know. So he doesn't have a direct plan or an idea of, you know, what, you know,
and that's what Husey, and I did Chris Connor's show as well, last call, like yesterday or the day before. Make sure you check that out yesterday, I think. And they both have the same criticism. And Husey, who was on earlier, you know, it's like WWE's going to get bloated too. And then what? The same's going to happen. Well, maybe. I don't know. They seem to do a better job of balancing it out. But with that being said, everyone who leaves AEW, also, I don't want to see them go to WWE. Like, if Edge was in WWE, what the would he honestly be doing? You know, not wrestling Yuta, I guess, not hurting himself, but It's like, where would he fit? It would be Edge versus Breaker or something. That would cook, not gonna lie, but but it would just be him taking a spot from someone else too. Talking about legends, I don't worry about it too much, but yeah, when you're and I guess you could say like Lashley and them are legends too. You could, but yeah, it's like Ricochet, who I worry about coming over, getting lost in the shuffle. Him though, he surpassed as well. Yeah, Monet, I feel like, is the perfect example. She's just like a whatever, like no one cares when she comes out, and she was assigned to such a big deal. Okada is a great example. So to take it away from WWE, right? He's like the best wrestler in the world comes over. It's just like, okay, who gives it? So there is many examples of that. So MJF said, if you ask a WWE star, have you been watching AEW? And they say no, one of two things is happening. One, they are lying through their teeth, or two, they don't care enough about this industry to study what's going on in it. You need to study. That's why Dave Meltzer quoted that. You need to study, MJF. Tony Khan. Here's the thing, right? Brian. I don't know. I hit a Brian there, but I covered on the last show, Eddie Kingston was just like, yo, dog, I don't even watch AEW. I watch old school Noah and New Japan. That's what he said he's watching. So this is just, I know MJF's working too, but he just tried to cover his ass because they're like, did you see, right before they asked him, I watched the interview, and they're like, did you see the John Cena turn? And he's like, well, of course I did. Well, you know, if anybody's saying that they don't watch the other show, like, he had to cover his ass and be like, well, everybody's lying if they say that they're not. Because he knows, dude. Anyways, here's the thing though. Eddie Kingston was saying that he doesn't even watch AEW, bro. You just were about to say you watch WWE and you knew that was gonna like cause you some flack, so you quickly just threw that in there. Jamie Hayter is in the process of getting her visa renewed and is back in the US. Now, do you want to know what's funny? This is what Fightful's saying. Sean Ross Sapp is like, update coming to FightfulSelect.com today. And then Hayter's like, I'll save you all the cash and the concern. See, this is the thing. If Husey came on the show and was like, yo, I heard Disco talking about this, you know, he talks to people in WWE, whatever, Chad Gable might get a wig like Kurt Angle. And we're all like, that's preposterous. Meanwhile, he has music where we go, you suck. And he does everything like Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? He does the ankle lock and he wears gear just like, but we're all like, that's ridiculous. Like, he could totally do that. But anyways, you know, Haters like, I'll save you all the cash and the concern. This is how you talk about gossip. You gossip about it and you just talk and make jokes. All die laughing, right? That's how you do it. You don't go join my secret message board over here where I'm going to talk people who I have blocked on Twitter over in this, you know? Anyways, I'll save you all the cash and the concern. Just getting a new visa, no big deal, no issues. Cheers. And it was also floating around, oh, she might leave. Yeah, I'd love to see her in NXT. I think she's even a girl who's main roster ready. She's like above a lot of the girls in AEW, and that's a few that are on the main roster WWE. I'd honestly say that if you gave her the ball, I think she could really run with it. But I'm not like itching. More of these big name women come to WWE right now. There's so many, you know. So again, yeah, word if she's leaving, whatever. But she just clarified that all up. I'll save you the cash and the concern, just getting a new visa. So there you go, right? And then Fightful goes, Jamie Hayter is in the process of getting her visa renewed and is back in the UK. Oh, really? Oh, I wonder how you figured that one out, right? So I posted this too. Like, when I saw this, I'm like, oh, the Max deal's going swimmingly. So this was a day before the Amazon thing was announced. We have fans going, like Tuke Timbo going, hello at AEW on TV. Will we be able to live stream AEW Revolution 2025 on Max? They're getting no word about it. They don't know. So these are some of the people who are watching it, okay? And on Max, right? And they don't know what's going on with it. And then all of a sudden, like today, this Amazon thing gets announced. Maybe I'll look up these people's accounts and see what they're saying. Like, oh, I got to get Prime now. I'd love an update. But yeah, here's another fan quote tweeting that and going, I'm tired. Let us stream pay-per-views on Max already. So that's what I mean. The whole push was like Max, Max, Max. And you got people who are like, hey, yeah, I'll check this out on Max. Maybe they signed up for Max. And they might even be willing to pay a bit of a premium. But has that been rolled out yet? That's so unclear to me. I don't even know. Where's my I don't know in honor of Lex Luger, dude? Hopefully being in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know!
Now it's like Prime for this one day a month, but Max everywhere else. It's such a botch optically, man. That's what they don't understand. The marketing's messy, and it does feel like I think what Ref MJ from NJ said earlier on, he super chatted and he's been tweeting about, he's been retracting some stuff. You know, I don't know what's all going on there, but I think ultimately what it is that for me, how I interpreted it, I was like, as a fan, dude, this is just weird. Like you were just pushing max. Now it's, oh, but you got to buy the pay-per-view prime, or whatever pay-per-view provider you have. And didn't they just do something with Bleacher Report recently? So is that a fumble too? Someone smarter than me's got to explain it to me, all of the intricacies. Just, I look at the fans, bro. I'm a fan. Look at these people. Like, come on, dude. I bet both of them have me blocked. You know what I mean? And they're like, come on, dude. AEW Collision did a 280,000 rating against Elimination Chamber. Neckbeards with his fucking yeah, so I mean, I don't know, point the finger and laugh. I guess it's close to 300K. That's close to their usual normal number now, right? Which is 350K. Report, Ray Phoenix may have agreed to a non-disparagement clause as part of his AEW release. And I quote tweeted that. I was like, no, you the
best guys, Tony Khan.
Can't get out of your contract unless you do that, bro. So here were the AEW stars, and there were WWE ones too. So I'm not trying to make this like a tribalistic thing, but the joke has to be made. Oh, when Cornette was on screen, did you all have to cover your baby ears or what? You know, were you all allowed to tell Tony? Did Tony not attend? He seems to attend everything. Oh, we got the pay-per-view, and I'll sit here for 3 hours at the press conference, and then I have the All-Star game and the trade deadline for the Jaguars is coming up. This is great. Time cop. But I'll just go tomorrow, then travel back. We've built one of those. My dad invented it. Time cop. He didn't show up, and it's good these people are there. I'm not trying to roast it either, but the joke has to be made, right? Like, yo, Cornette's there. Were you all even allowed to watch? But let's take a look, man. Ladies looking magnificent. Of course, Nana's up in there. That's our guy. And yeah, there's Athena, you know, Sky Blue over here. She's ready to come back. She's great. She needs NXT real bad. And then Julia Hart needs NXT real bad, you know, because she's still a little fucky in the ring with some of her moves. It's like, you're going to really hurt yourself again or somebody else, and it's not going to be good. You got to, I don't know, man. NXT, she's an NIL, right? She was a cheerleader or something. That would really, an NIL, we're referring, you're either ID or NIL, pal. Get in the line. Yeah, we're factory farming them. Ref MJ from NJ pointed this out that they're doing a giveaway. So what did you point out here? I forget. Oh, yeah, the belt says from the 2023 world champions of the World Series. And then he makes the joke like only AEW could come up with a way to stay in 2023. Like when they were hot, you know. That's a good one. Badoomps. Julia, we need a badoomps. Okay, thank you. Julia's the best. Breaking. AEW's just announced a partnership with Amazon Prime Video to broadcast their pay-per-view. We talked about this before. All AEW pay-per-views starting this weekend will be available to purchase on the service. Now, I'm sure it'll be available other places. This isn't like an own. This is a good thing for them. They just got some money for this. But it's messy optically, again, as I pointed out before. Okay? Because maybe there's Max people who even like pay for Max who were like, what? I thought I was getting discount, you know? Oh, I guess I'll just go to Prime for a bit. Like, do you got to sign up for Prime and give them your email? Because if you do, then that's cringe, bro. That's whack. People are trying to reduce doing that as much as possible. It's a little messy, but I'll say this. Good for them getting however much, I'm sure. Dave Meltzer, well, the checks are rolling in. $3.6 million a week, Brian. So who knows? I don't know how much it'll be, but that's a good thing. And I'm sure, yes, WBD pulled some off the top. And there's not even a problem with that. And hopefully this helps them. Okay? For the haters out there, there's no problem with this. But hopefully it helps them is all I'm going to say. Because it, to me, I'm like, whoa. Join us on TBS for the pre-show and YouTube. And also over on Bleacher Report and Amazon Prime for the pay-per-view. And for the, make sure you tune into TNT or TBS, depending on when, you know. Holy man, just reel it in a little bit, right? And I know US fans might go, oh, come on now, Phil. That's not very fair. I'm a sicko, and I'm here for AEW, okay? And I think it's messy over here in the United States of America. as far as where things are airing. But is it really? Just think about it. Pay-per-views on Peacock, been that way for a while. They didn't. Here's the difference. Ready? Can I tell you all the difference? They've already been on WWE. If we're going to compare them, if we're going to go, well, what about WWE? Okay, let's Steelman or invent an argument in our heads here for a sicko, right? They would say, well, what about WWE? Just their pay-per-views or Peacock. Here's the difference, though. Like, they've been on Peacock for a long ass time, and they didn't roll out this, hey, we're on Peacock thing in the midst, like right after the Netflix thing. You know what I mean? Like relatively the same time. It feels like this push for Max, we're like a month into the Max streaming thing. Or no, 2 months now. Yeah. And then now it's like pay-per-views are on Prime after the question of, oh, well, we were told later this year, the first quarter's almost up, and we were told later this year we're going to get a discounted pay-per-view. I don't know, man. That's the way I interpret it. But yeah, that's just me. Here we go. This guy, here's some MJF kind of getting owned, okay, online. So, and I added one here too. Eddie Kingston just the other day was like, that other company. He's like, I don't even watch AEW, bro. He was just saying that in an interview. The next day, MJF's responding to this guy going, so this guy says, question, as someone new to watching wrestling, do talent in AEW and WWE have beef with each other like the tribalism between the fan bases have online? And here's what I hate. Is when MJF is like, no, well, hate's a strong word, but he's like, no. Yeah, I bet some of the wrestlers are beefy. I bet some of the young ones coming up too are going to have that in their mind. I get that a lot of the wrestlers are friends, but this person's asking you, like, dude, the fan bases online, are you guys as tribalistic? No, this is the right answer. I do not like how MJF just sort of is like, I make 15 million and I'll go win the next bidding war. And no, John Cena's my friend and the Federation's cool. And it's not like a don't like to punch you in the face kind of thing, right? Go away. Or you guys get what I'm saying? It's not heat. Like, I want to see this guy get beaten up. I want to see someone punch him in the face. And I want to, it's not like that. It used to be like that with MJF, but this is just like, he's always just talking about WWE for sakes. And I get it. People ask about it. You ignore so many people. If you look at an MJF tweet, there's so many trolls under his, and it's like you respond to this to try and say, no, there's not tribalism. Meanwhile, your boss is on TV going, the Harvey Weinstein. And it's just like, bro, you know, nah, it's not that. You tell your boss that then. Tell your boss that. Well, when's the last time he's tweeted about WWE? Well, when's the last time he's come out and said, none of you tweet about or talk about WWE, or I'll fire you? When's the last time he didn't, you know, bring up when one of these meltdowns happens, these bald assholes, or the one time he's like, the Friday Night Wars? I know because it was in court. It's like, yeah, this tribalism is largely from the leadership. So it's good that the wrestlers, I guess, are saying this, but at the same time, like, don't front, dude. Don't even answer this, because then it just gets spun into a tribal thing. But also, there's tribalism in every sport and we talk about it all the time. McDonald's, Burger King, Coke, Pepsi. WWE, AEW. Do you like, are you an Eagles fan or a Falcons fan or whatever, right? What team do you like, the Lakers or the Celtics? There's always that debate. Even right now, do you like Raw or SmackDown better? It can be had there can be tribalism within tribes, you know? Yeah, but this is what I dislike is the rest of his comment. Let's just listen. He's like, thankfully the monopolization stopped. I agree with that. However, that's the problem. Tony starts scooping up indies and funding people behind the scenes and helping out Rev Pro and Maple Leaf Pro, and they don't make this big formal announcement, and it's claps and applause. And then WWE's like, hey, we're going to work with indies. And then everyone's like, man, they can't use their own names. They're not going to be allowed to do they're going to ruin the indie, blah, 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 blah. But Tony does it silently and privately, and that's okay. WWE does it publicly because they're a publicly traded company, and it's like, thank God that it's not even that. Well, it is a monopoly. It was sort of. That's what Vince was doing, but it just took one billionaire. But even then, TNA was still going at it with WWE. You know what I mean? Like, they still took swings. They had 2 million people watching them at one point, right? ROH was still existing. It was still thriving. The pandemic took ROH out. Don't let that ever get twisted. The pandemic took them out, okay? And them agreeing like, yeah, we'll pay everyone. And they did that by selling it. MJF responds to this and he goes, no, we have lives. We enjoy all wrestling. Two companies existing gets us the pay that wrestlers should have been getting in the first place. No one disputes that. Thankfully, the monopolization stopped. But let's just take a look. Someone put together a very brilliant compilation video here that kind of owns MJF a bit. Now, do you guys think that's actually a real tat, or did he get a fake one to unveil it on this episode and then and then it's actually removed? What do you guys think? It's hidden by his boots, so we'll never know. And it would have been easy for them to just airbrush it on that Dynamite or show someone else's leg. That's how easy that is. But for real, though, it's such like a ink blob of a trash tattoo. This guy's rich. He's young. You don't think he looked up a real, like, this looks like a fake tat or something. What do you guys think, chat? Let me know.
With New Japan Pro Wrestling for the U.S. title. So you must have really gotten a lot done in the...
See, and there's... You guys see what I'm saying? Here's Tony Khan on TNA and WWE on TNA's TV time. And now they're working with WWE, stomping all over AEW. And it's like, no, there's no tribalism. It's like you got Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone talking on TV, bro. What are you talking about?
With New Japan Pro Wrestling for the U.S. title. So you must have really gotten a lot done in the 2 months, Nick. In fact, I think there's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business, Nick. And it's me. It's Tony Khan. It's not some con man from Connecticut.
What the man? You all remember that? And Scott D'Amore was like, nah, it's cool. Just don't say it. Just let him do his thing. And now that he's gone, now that Scott D'Amore's gone from TNA and you look at Maple Leaf Pro and the talent that are working there, confirms everything we said. They have a working relationship, right? So that's all I'm saying, man. He played his cards right there for sure. For sure, Scott D'Amore did. He's a smart man, right?
Have a fun show tonight, Nick.
Because it doesn't burn a bridge for him. It's not like WWE's going to be mad at D'Amore for having this fed, right? But he just keeps the mess off him. That's very smart. I know some people gave him for that, but that was smart of D'Amore at the time, you know?
So, Lynn, you understand I was built for this. I never wanted to go to WWF, EW, whatever they called it. I look at that wrestling and I don't like it. I've looked at King's Road. Style of wrestling, loved it. Strong style, loved it. Japanese professional wrestling is the greatest professional wrestling in the world.
Boom. Among the male prospects attending the camp, he went to a whole WWE camp. I never saw that wrestling and thought it was good. Never. I never saw it. I never liked it. I saw the Joshis in Stardom. I was like, bing, bang, boom. That's for me. Not this fake federation over there. Look, dude, here's in the best shape of his life, too. Knowing full well he couldn't come in all half-assed. He attended a whole-ass camp. The War King Eddie Kingston, a 14-year vet who has brawled against the likes of Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, and Samoa Joe. The guy literally tried out for the Fed. Oh, that's not me, man. That's AI. I swear it. Fuck, man. It's so cringe. This is why the tribalism exists so hard. I'm telling you on the WWE side. Because, yes, WWE people made fun of, like, if they saw something dumb happen in ROH and a clip goes viral or something, yeah, you make fun of it because it's wrestling. But none of them were, like, actively, we got to destroy AEW. That came from all this. I'm telling you, man. They had all the goodwill behind them. And then it just... Once people realized, oh, Tony really is, this is a mess, you know, and they're not doing anything to fix it. Like 2 years deep, like it always trended downward, but so does everything kind of, right? Like you're never as big as your first season or whatever they say in the television industry, right? Like the sequel's never as big or as good as it's a rare occasion. It's just that they, like when people realize it's not that Tony was no good. It's not even that. It's just like Cody Rhodes left and then everyone realized, oh, Tony won't actually do anything to solve anything. And then that went on for years. And then you're like, okay, it's, 3 years later, you're like, okay, this whole thing's. But Eddie Kingston, bro, you tried out for WWE. Don't cap. That's silly.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because the competition sometimes doesn't want to hear their fans. Well, yes. Oh.
It's quiet on Twitter's end. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm burning another bridge. Surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, AEW cares about their fans. Because we are not here just to get ourselves a paycheck. We're here every week.
We're here not to just get a paycheck. We're here for the fans. Meanwhile, they're all getting the biggest paychecks they've ever had in their lives. And that's not a bad thing, but you have got to be me, bro. He feels so rejected by WWE.
Without you people, and we come out here with our asses. Because we love professional wrestling. I will give the devil his due, but you saw a match between Kenny Omega and my dude Jungle Boy that you will not see on the other channel.
Jungle Boy. Mercedes Monea Vernado says, if I listened to the people I wanted listed rather the people I wanted in AEW, the other place would sign them. The other place would sign them. The other place, you know, that evil place. If I talk to anyone, they'll sign them up right away.
Are you sure about that?
Yesterday, one of my favorite days, including great visits with fans and media, a trip to LA for the most fulfilling meeting of my life with WBD leadership, dinner with my dad and Dana White, where I got to break the news to Dana about Money in the Bank, moving to MGM. And then Dana White gets in business with WWE. I promise you, Dana White was laughing at Tony Khan. I promise you. This week, 2 active decades-long rating streaks from 2 great legends were ended. Imagine Tony tweeting this out. This is the one where I threw my hands up and I was like, nah, I'll just roast this guy forever. This was the part when NXT originally beat Dynamite head-to-head. And Tony Khan goes, this week, 2 active decades-long rating streaks from 2 great legends were ended. With all due respect, until this week's head-to-head AEW on TBS versus WWE on USA, neither John Cena nor Undertaker had never been on a WWE show with under 1 million total viewers, under 400K in the demo. It's great. He took a shot at them, man, for having less than 1 million viewers, Undertaker and Cena. I think right there, that's when speaking of Undertaker, that's when the gong hit for AEW, dude.
Normally I wouldn't rise to this type of bait, but seeing as the guy that said it is only in the position he is in because he was grinding on the boss's daughter.
Yeah, and then he wrestled a fat schlub who dressed like Triple H. And then I went, Chris Van Vliet was like, what questions do you want me to ask Will Ospreay? And I went under there. I'm like, ask him why he's so obsessed with Triple H. I'm being kind of serious, though, for real. And people were like, you think that's obsessed? I'm like, well, kind of. They're like, you don't even know the stipulation to that match. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Someone booked a fat guy to come out to Triple H's music and pretend to be him. Like, what's the Triple H? Oh, we dress up like other wrestlers who are over. And we do a battle royal. Okay, well, someone picked Triple H and had them square off with Ospreay. So that's just what it is. So Ricochet, man, he completely destroys some of the sickos. Like, he goes at the AEW fans himself, because who else could he possibly be talking about? Dave Meltzer goes, apparently, there has, except, there has been, confusion, regarding, AEW, Amazon Prime pay-per-view deal. The shows will remain as pay-per-views, Brian. On Amazon Prime, today's announcement is just confirmation of the reports from January. And then Ricochet goes, I love how dumb people are. Apparently they all forgot what pay-per-view means, LOL. Like, bro, are you talking about the AEW fans who are like, hey, we want to see this on Max? Oh, never mind. Are you talking about them? I have Prime, so I should be able to watch for free as they rent, buy movies, TV shows, and more. Idiots, man, idiots. So he's calling, like, the people who already have Prime and are like, what? I don't get it for free with my Prime subscription, I guess. Is that a lot of AEW fans? Do a lot of AEW fans? What's the market share there? What's the challenge? Is Max a challenger, Brett? No. Call that dumb. This is what I'm saying, bro. This is all messy and dumb, and even you're saying Confucius. You're dissing who? Who is this even directed at? I have Prime in Canada, and I don't know if they're even on Prime in Canada. I have to figure that out too. So it's, to me, I don't know. Maybe my interpretation, I beat this to death already, but just to me, I was like, well, it's weird you push Max than Prime. I think that's the L here. And Ricochet just, I don't know. He's healing, though. What I really think Ricochet's doing is jumping on all of these things and purposefully trying to cringe people out and piss them off. I think people are like, it's the Andrew Tate thing. Okay, maybe it's that. I don't know. I wouldn't want anyone to say I'm doing the Andrew Tate thing at all ever, but just from what I've seen on YouTube's. But yeah, he's doing his thing, I'll call it, and I think he is just like trying to get over as a heel doing this stuff right now. Especially like responding to Meltzer. You know what you're doing. You're trying to get shows like me to talk about it and make fun of it. So who knows if he even believes what he's saying or if he's actually triggered by it to this extent, but it is funny. Revolution. So here's Drain Bamager saying Revolution is already available to order for $50 on Prime. So you can already order it. They have a it says right here. See, I'm a dummy because I like to react on the show. So I see, I bookmark, I look away. It's like a trailer. I see a good movie trailer. I watch like a few seconds of it. I go, okay, that looks good enough to where I'll watch it, or I go, this is kind of, and then a lot of time you watch the train wreck trailers a little more because you're like, okay, I like a good cringe. You guys know that. But anyways, so this answers my question. A multi-year agreement, AEW pay-per-views. Yeah, so multi-year, like what does that mean for later in the year WBD, Max, cheaper pay-per-views? That's weird. Canada and UK. That's awesome. Beginning with the Revolution this Sunday, March 9th. So I'll be using Amazon Prime there. There you go, guys. Beginning Prime Video will also stream Dynasty, Double or Nothing, All In, Forbidden Door, what? All Out, what? Wrestle Dream, what? Full Gear, what? World's End. Yeah, there's a trailer as well. I quote tweeted this. I was like, Drain Bamager will still illegally pirate it. I don't know. I was taking a shot, but I don't know. I was trying to be funny, guys. You bait on Twitter. Logan Paul to John Cena. He says, dude, and I'm stealing Red Bar's impression, but it's the best one. Dude, these celebrity wrestlers come in and think they can just take the full-timers' goodwill. Like, bro, we're in here week in and week out working hard to build this company. And guys like John Cena think they can just not show up to work, bruh. Be a professional, dude. Just like the rest of us. Yee. It's my Logan Paul impression, strictly stolen from Red Bar Radio, but it's the best one. But yeah, he's doing good heel work. That's the way you do the heel. You get people over, or you like on someone in your company where there's a match down the line. You create intrigue. You don't like put your energy. The Federation. I never even worked there. Is that Long Island enough? Where's Kingston from? Our last bit of AEW news. Jason G from the SAT tweets out, Blood can't even get people to watch AEW for free on cable. Out of here, Trevor. And then Drain Bamager is like, yeah, it's already ready to order. Ricochet goes, but I got Prime. It should be free. He might really be triggered by this. Okay, Ricochet, don't be a crybaby. I wish I titled this show Ricochet Cringe. If people thought that was okay, maybe he is just doing this for heat, because I'm going to explain this to you guys, okay? Outside of the wrestling bubble. When the same thing happened with UFC, to this day, people complain about that you have to pay the extra premium on ESPN Plus for the pay-per-view. To this day, people, to this day, where's that meme? Julia, we might need another. To this day, right? But they still complain about, you have to pay the extra on ESPN Plus. That's like the main complaint about why I already pay for ESPN Plus. So this isn't just wrestling. If you get, and Ricochet's not saying, IWC idiots, but tribalists are just going to go to war and they're not going to actually understand even what they're going to war about. What Ricochet's making fun of here is AEW fans who have Prime and not the drink, the show. Okay, so the show service, the show. Is it a show? I don't know. The streaming service attached to your Amazon Prime, where you order things, amenities and such for the house, gizmos and gadgets and what's-its and who's-its. But anyways, yeah, he's dissing AEW fans who have Prime and are like, what? I got to pay extra for a pay-per-view? Because I don't think Prime's done anything. I might be lying. They may have done like Ryzen or One Championship. At least they're starting. They're using AEW as the launch pad, as the tester. And there's obviously enough. I'm sure, again, I give Amazon the same credit that I gave Netflix. Like, I'm sure they did the market research and there's enough crossover over there for Ricochet to just make fun of people. Now's the time to encourage people. But all they did was see like Ref MJ from NJ's tweets where he's like, what, the people have to pay extra? And he's just mocking that. Like, that's what he's doing. But I digress anyways. That, ladies and gentlemen, was AEW news. Here's the Revolution card. I guess we'll quickly look over it. Okada and Brody King, whatever. Let's see. The AEW World Tag Team Championship, the Hurt Syndicate against the Outrunners. That's a great match, but if they don't pull the trigger, so now Outrunners have to beat Hurt Syndicate or else theirs is just flamed out, like real quick. Orange Cassidy and Big Boom and Mark Briscoe versus, you know, Johnny TV and all this. Listen, this shouldn't be on the pay-per-view. I'm sorry. This isn't a pay-per-view match. Put it on the pre-show. No, just, or like have it on this pay-per-view, but get rid of like 4 of these other matches. MJF versus Hangman Page. Okay, there's some heat there. I mean, it's just very rushed. Very rushed. Mercedes against Momo Watanabe for the TBS Championship. This should be on the go-home show. Like, this isn't a pay-per-view. Why? Because she stared at you after that one show? Crazy, man. You have Ricochet Swerve. That's the one I'm most interested to see. Will Ospreay versus Fletcher. That'll be good, too. They're going to go overboard, though, because Ospreay will be leading it, so to speak. You know, Fletcher's the heel, so he'll be calling, but they're going to go overboard, and they're friends, so they're going to try and do like what Sammy and KO did. But, I mean, this is the right match to get to, and it's in a steel cage. Okay, so let's see. Will Punk, we're going to grade them. Punk and Seth, is their cage match, does it cook better than Ospreay and Fletcher? And then the idea, too, with the cage, I like that they put it in a cage because you got to keep the Cow's family out. So makes sense. Konosuke Takeshita against Kenny Omega. Kenny, the god of everything. Tony God. This match will be good. I'm not going to say they're going to go overboard. Kenny can do what he did with Gabe Kidd. It'll be a huge W. The Hollywood ending for Tony Storm and Mariah May. Who knows? The Mole was saying, like, oh, you should see what they're going to do. Obviously, I think Tony Storm's going to win because she just won the belt. One of these two got to link it up with Monet eventually, no? Or does Monet not want to work with anybody here? But John Moxley takes on Cope for the title. They put the title on Cope. It's just that time. Yo, it's about that time to bring forth the rhythm and the rhyme. They better put the belt on Cope and just banish Moxley from television. And I'm not kidding. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was AEW News. Round of applause here, AEW News.